What's up, everybody? I'm your boy, the Boxing Jedi J Caro, and welcome to The Insight. We're going to be talking about some comic books, comic book characters, and exactly how has it progressed and changed within the years. I am, I've been talking about this for a while. I was over at Electro Jeds Live yesterday. We had a great time talking about the What If series and the agendas or whatever, even though we tried to, ignore it and not even go there. But of course, that's the way it goes when it comes to stuff like that. And as well as Red Glove Militant, who's always speaking comics, which I'm happy that he does, and he's just basically been just kicking the how do you say, the knowledge and the opinions of his opinions, of course, of what he likes out of the What If series, but today we're going to speak on everything that we like. And everything that we like is going to be fact simply because it comes from us and these are the characters we grew up with. These are the comic book stories and storylines and everything that has to do with, knowing exactly what story writing and storytelling is. As well as this fucked up agenda that's been going around and, just basically poisoning all of our material. It's crazy. But of course, I'm going to put the link in the chat. Whoever wants to join me, this is a free for all stream. So whoever wants to get on the panel, we can kick it and understand that this isn't boxing, so I don't want no boxing questions. You guys should already know when you come on this channel, you should know if it's a subject, that's what we're sticking to. We're not going to go, okay, there's different days for boxing and shit like that, and there's different days for other stuff. So let's just keep it Marvel, DC, so on and so forth. So I just basically wanted to let you know that during the years of me growing up, I always went to a comic book store, several, but I had one around the way, and I lived on Grand Street in Clinton. But we would go up to Grand in Essex, and then we'd turn the corner and on Hester and walk towards Hester Park, and we would have Moses Comics. Now Moses is no longer alive, but Moses Comics was where we used to go. He had collectibles in there. At the time, they weren't collectibles; they were just action figures. And he had comics. I mean, he had rows of comics. He had comics on walls. He had one side of the comic book shop where it was valuable comics. He had Spider-Man #1, which was like, at the time it was like $3,000, and he had it, in the plastics and stuff. He had Silver Surfer a lot of #1 comic books, and I mean, and it was amazing to me because as I'm looking at these comic books, I'm like, damn, my eyes hurt even looking at this goddamn wall. and I always wanted to get one of those expensive #1 comics, and there was only one time that I seen a person buy that particular #1, especially the Spider-Man #1. Um, and they bought it, and this guy was just he had a wad of cash, and he was just giving out he's just giving them money as he's counting it down and stuff, and then he left it in the plastic, he bagged it nice and tight, and gave it to him, and the guy got in the car and left, and I was like, holy stuff. Just to find out that he had it in Midtown Comics. He had it over at Midtown Comics, and I said, I saw you in Moses, you purchased, and I was looking around, and he's like, oh, yeah, the Spider-Man. I was like, holy shit. And I got it in my personal collection. So we had a lot of comic book shops growing up, and the thing here is that when we had comic book shops, what's up, Electro? What's going on, brother?
What's up, my brother from another mother? How you doing today?
All right, man. Just getting the intro for this comic book talk, and the comic book shops, they're very rare these days. That was something that was sort of like the boys club, because at the same time we used to all shack up. If it wasn't in the park, it was in front of the comic book shop or in the comic book shop, but we would actually have little little rap groups and stuff talking about the comic books, in the comic book shop. I remember Moses used to let us sit on the floor as long as it was towards the back or whatever, and we could read and trade comics and stuff. And you know, especially those that used to collect baseball cards as well. We can't forget those baseball cards that were part of the comic book shop. And
Yeah,
but
you remember flipping the baseball cards at school and stuff, where you go and you just flip them, and you fucking be mad when you lost a big old pile of cards and shit like
oh
that.
yeah, oh yeah,
Oh
oh
man,
yeah, bro. But
these guys nowadays don't know, man. They
they don't
don't know
know.
what's
They
fair.
don't know, and I'm saying they don't know the the value of having a home, a second home, should I say, besides, parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles, but a second home as to, either lunchtime or you going to school and having the benefits of having a comic book shop directly across from your school and everything. There's one here and I go to, it's called Funny Famous and Faces. And it's huge, and they still have comic book collections, and it's the nostalgia where you go in and you smell the incense burning, and then you smell the pages off the books.
Ah,
There was nothing like smelling them fresh pages, the fresh ink off of the damn fucking comic books, man. And I miss a lot of comic book shops. There's also a huge comic book shop that has moved on the same avenue, maybe a block or two during the years, but it stood it stood on Broadway, 14th Street. Now it's on 13th Street and Broadway. Before it was on 11th Street and Broadway, then it went to 12th Street and Broadway. So it was like basically diagonally crossing the streets until it stood on the right side. It was called Forbidden Planet. That's a famous comic book collector shop over there, and I used to
holy
go there.
shit, that's like one of the most famous
Oh
comic
yeah,
book stocks,
oh
man.
yeah. And let me tell you something: the transition throughout the years of watching that comic book place switch hands, I have to say that during the years they moved simply because of, I guess it was too expensive at certain points to live down Broadway. They're there permanently, and I'm glad that the ownership really really were into comic books and kept it like that, and just added more stuff onto it. Like now they got collectibles, they sell t-shirts. I mean, everything you need, bro. If you don't believe me, just look at Forbidden Planet, 13th Street in Union Square, New York City, bro. I used to go there almost every fucking day. And before I got here, what, 11 years, going on 11 years now, before I got to Florida as a grown man, father, I still would go over there. You know what I mean? So comic book shops are essential, very essential, especially in our time. Today, everything's digital. Like it's very, they still sell the prints where you can get your hands on a
Yeah.
physical, but now everything's digital. Everything is, you have your digital library, and it's
Like
not
I
the
want
same.
those comics that you put your hands on. My thing is, and it's once you're done there, I'll give you my story. It's a sad story about.
Oh, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. It's about comics, baby.
Well, look, man, I tell you what, I was the luckiest man alive, and then I became the most unluckiest man alive. Now I'm not gonna get into particulars, but you know how family can screw you over throughout your life and stuff like that. Which is this is what happened, but. I came onto a comic collection. I always loved comics and I always loved Marvel comics. Now there were some DC comics that I loved too. Like I was a big fan of Firestorm.
Mm,
In actuality, Firestorm was the first comic I ever really got into, and there was a character that was in Firestorm, and I think his name was the Lunatic. He was a bad guy, and I liked that character.
yeah.
If you look it up, the Lunatic, fucking cool ass character, right? And then I also loved I loved Green Lantern, and for me, Batman. He wasn't my top pick, but the thing I liked about Batman is because Batman is one of those characters that you love drawing.
Right.
I
Right.
used to draw when I was younger. Between the ages of 15 and 26, I would draw, and I'd like to say I was pretty good at it. And what happened was I was here in Albuquerque. I had my own little collection of comics, right? And then somebody um, dropped, just like they dropped a load of comics. This is no lie, Jay.
Right,
It was a box of comics that was about this big, right? There was
right,
two boxes of them. And I said, "Oh, let me check them out." I just took both boxes of comics, right?
right.
I went home and dude, I had it was X-Men 86, right?
Woo!
X-Men 86 on forward. Yeah,
Is that
Firestorm. There it
there
is.
he goes right there? That's
Yeah,
Firestorm, baby.
you know. And this was the episodes where the new X-Men, the uncanny X-Men came in. You know what I mean? And I had the issue with Thunderstorm or Thunderbird
Yeah,
died.
right, right.
Right. So this is a collector's item, right? And and then I had what do you call it? Uh it was like the first these some of these comics came from like 61 and 62.
Yeah.
1961. They were I had the second edition of Spider-Man.
Woo!
Second edition of Spider-Man. And then I had these comics were like would say I had one comic that had 5 cents on it. It was a 5 cent comic,
Five Cent Comics.
and then a bunch of 10 cent comics. This is the collection I had. I didn't know it. I looked up the dollar value of the comics that I had received. I can't even remember all the comics I had in these two boxes, but the collection was worth in that day, and I didn't tell anyone until for reasons you'll understand is that this was a gold mine. But I love the comics, and I didn't want to sell them or anything like that. What's up, Kal-El? How you doing, my brother? And and the comics that I had were worth almost $80,000
Yeah,
at
man.
that time.
Hey,
Can you imagine what they were worth now?
they get like that, brother. But they get like that.
But
Piece. They.
here's the
Pe-
thing. Here's what I tell
oh,
you. We're
oh,
fucking family.
give me 1 second.
Yeah, yeah.
What's up, Mazurus, my brother? I see you there, no doubt. He
Oh,
said.
I didn't even see it. What's up,
He
man?
said. He said in his butthead voice. He said, "Load." What's up, Ralph Unreal? And of course, the man is still Khalil. What's going on, fellas? Go ahead, Jed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. And because I got into a little bit of a conflict with family, I'm not saying which family, I got into a little bit of conflict. I ended up putting my entire collection in the trunk of my car, right? And I moved my car to another place
Mm.
and trusting a friend. Lo and behold,
Damn.
I ended up going to jail, right? At a week and a half, 2 weeks later, come out, the back of the trunk of my car was broken into.
Oh, so it was an inside job. Somebody knew about it.
Yeah, and my comics were gone.
Oh man, that
But ever
sucks.
since then, I stopped collecting. That broke my heart, man.
No, of course. I mean,
That broke my
yeah,
heart, and I didn't want to touch another comic again, and
yeah,
I haven't. And
yeah,
it's sad because you can't get something like that back. You just can't.
yeah. I mean, Bruce Goals as well as Tony Boswell and a couple of elite donators up from the channel, man. These guys have actually given me old, perfect, comic books. I mean, from the fucking 70s and 80s, brother. And I keep them all boxed and taped up. You know what I mean? I keep them in their plastics. I'm gonna start doing once the technology on this channel fucking progresses and gets better. I'm gonna start doing voiceovers and still motion comics, meaning you'll see the panel of the comic books, but I'm gonna be doing the voices and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm gonna start doing that as well, because let me tell you something. you know like he said, Firestorm. you know when you take a look at Firestorm, man, I mean, these are characters that when you look at them, it just brings back the way you used to try to draw them, the way you used to try to trace them
Hmm.
over the paper and shit, sitting in the corner with shit stains in your ass and chocolate milk and just fucking try to draw and shit, you know what I'm saying? Those were the days, man. Those were the days. And now as we get older, we started looking at more of face-offs.
Mm.
Like, yo, man, what if Captain America went against Magneto? Do you think Magneto would be able to control his vibranium, his vibranium shield and shit? If he tried to, throw it at him and shit, could he
Mm.
block it off and stuff like that? And other like, what happens if Wolverine was to fight fucking was to go up against Kang? You know,
Mhm.
what would happen if Cyclops, was to go up against, let's just say a
You
Jorgonaut
think of comic book scenarios in your
by
own head,
himself?
right?
Yeah,
You think of panels and one more thing. I remember I told you I used to draw, right? Because that shit happened.
yeah,
The last thing I drew, because I used it, my favorite things to draw were Batman. All right, the New Mutants. That was my favorite comic. All right, the comics that I started collecting, not just the the boxes that I got, right?
right.
What I started collecting, like one of my favorites was New Mutants when they
Mm,
first came out. I collected that from the beginning, right? And that ended up being stolen with the whole pile, right?
that fucking
So I,
sucks.
I got so depressed. Now I loved comics so much that I submitted some drawings of my own character, right? Uh, my own character. I had a whole dossier on him, origin story and everything, right? And his name was Switchblade. That's what I called him, right? And I sent it into Marvel Comic. They politely sent it back like a few months later and said we appreciate. They said they gave me, they let me down, but they said we appreciate your interest. Keep working hard, and we're sure things will happen. So what I did is I took that character and as a statement of my own artistic, design. That's what this is. This is my own comic book character right here. This is Switchblade,
Nice.
right? And these are the last things I made. And when the comic book collection got stolen, I never touched another fucking pencil to draw. I didn't collect another comic. That's how much it hurt.
I don't blame you, bro.
That's how much it hurt, man.
I don't blame you, man. I mean, I still do my projects here and there as to drawing and stuff, and but I haven't sat down and drawn anything. I mean, in a long time. You know what I mean? I haven't drawn anything in a long time. I just
Quick
been,
turnover span, but yeah, keep
yeah,
going.
I went straight to dioramas. You know what I mean? I went straight to dioramas, and basically my art now is basically building things with my fingers as to having a diorama form and bringing whatever I put on paper onto into real life. So it's like it gets to a point now where as an older man, I'm sad. I'm sad for this generation. I'm sad. At least my son, who's now what, he's 20 now. I got him into art. I got him into comic books, and he at least he was able to see what I had and be into comic books. And he's the last of his generation to actually touch a physical comic book because he
Mm.
has a collection himself, and I'm happy about that. But I feel sad for any kid beyond that you know will never ever get to know what a comic book store is unless the parent made applied that to the child, and the child will grow because that's what gave us our knowledge. I mean, look, we already from the comic books as well. I rather look, this is how I used to teach my son to read. I used to tell him, read your comic books. Why? Because these writers would use exquisite words, and us being young, from sixth grade and up, we were already using big words. We were already sounding already far beyond our parents' fucking educational fucking limits,
Hmm.
and we were speaking, and to this day we have diction, we have vocabulary simply because of what the reading source and the material that we grew up reading. And if we couldn't, we didn't know, we could pronounce the word, but we didn't know what the meaning was. We would look to see what it was, and it would stay embedded in our brains. This is why comic books are essential to children, bro, especially because these things are educational. You know, if it wasn't for comic books, do you guys know that there wouldn't be a Steven Spielberg? There wouldn't be a George Lucas. There wouldn't be any of that simply because these things, look, comic books changed the world. Comic books kept soldiers entertained in World War II with Captain America.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? I
sure.
mean, comic books are part of our lives, and it should continue to be this way.
It's part of our heritage, man.
Yeah,
It is part of our heritage.
yeah,
Reading all those stories, man. It was like you got immersed in another world. It took you away.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like D&D when you first played D&D and you got all into it. You know,
Yeah.
the comic was the same thing as that. You know,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, man, comic books for me was an integral part of my young adulthood and everything like that, and I appreciated it. But at the same time, it broke my heart. But now that I'm older, you know, I come to appreciate this. I remember whenever we talk, you can know I know these fucking stories, man. You know, I know all these stories because I'll tell you about the Marauders. I'll tell you about, I'll tell you about the fight between, Wolverine and Sabretooth and all these things, man. It's like,
Oh yeah, man. And
these stories, and then when you see them now coming up on film, it's like your dream come true.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And it's like comic book artists as well, right? I had John Byrne, of course, Superman. Um, I had, let's see who else I had. I had Jim Lee, which is my favorite comic book artist ever. And then I had Mark Silvestri, who brought up this sort of like Machiavellian era type illustration to these fucking panels, and they were exquisite, bro. You know what I'm saying? They were beautiful. And you know, me personally, that's what inspire a lot of artists, other artists as well. Like, let me show you guys something with Jim Lee here. This is my favorite artist, and I want you guys to take a good look at. Damn it! Why did it do that? I want you guys to take a good look at exactly these illustrations that Jim Lee does. Like, look at his Batman, bro. Look how beautiful that is. That's Jim Lee, a Chinese artist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a link in the chat. I'm gonna put it up again in case anyone wants to join. You're more than welcome to. It's right in the chat. Feel free to hit the link, and you should be part of the panel. Red Glove Militant, what's going on? He said, "Did you ever have Dark Claw?" Yeah, Dark Claw. um, was that from Image Comics? I believe that was from Image Comics, if I'm not mistaken. Like like Jim Lee. If you take a look at his detail, right? Look how that Batman is. That's a badass Batman, bro.
Fuck yeah, it is.
That's a bad and the thing is that I used to love the contours of the cheekbones and how the costume slided and you can see the contours of the cheekbones and the jaw muscle and the eyes were furrowed but not too furrowed, and then like if you look at the neck and shit, the ligaments on the neck holding the trapezius together, like Jim Lee was one that made you study anatomy.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of artists that can do that, and I tell you right now, man, another one was Mark Silvestri, which I'm gonna show you, and he was fucking awesome. Mark Silvestri's art was fucking crazy, bro. Here, let me show you exactly what I'm talking.
What I respect about you about this is that you know the artist name, and unfortunately I never got into the artists' names. I just got into the storyboard and the fact that I was all into the crossovers and the storyboards and the drawings, but I never, for some reason, I never got into the artists because I don't know why. I feel like I messed up when I didn't. So these names you're bringing up, the only ones I know the more popular names, but I understand what you're saying because you bring up these samples, and I remember them. It's like, damn, he's right. I wish I could talk to you about the names of the artists, and I need to stop doing that.
No, you can. All you have to do is just name the year and the comic book series, and I can name them because my whole thing was studying the artists, and then because most of them artists back then used to write their own stories too. That's what was amazing. Look at Mark Silvestri. You see that guy in the corner there? He was part of this series he had from Image Comics where he broke off from Marvel, and it was him, Rob Liefeld. It was Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Mark Silvestri, um, uh, Todd McFarlane, and they created Image Comics. you know, and that was the big thing. And they would have, bro, they blew Marvel out like the first 3 months they were out in Marvel sales. Nobody cared about Spider-Man anymore. Nobody, because they had Spawn. They had and what's fucked up is that Todd McFarlane on the way out of Marvel drew the cover of Amazing Spider-Man, and basically everybody who saw that Spider-Man was like, oh shit, McFarlane Spider-Man is hot. Wait, he's on Image, and everybody that followed every artist from Marvel went over to Image, and Image Comics was fucking amazing. What's up, Mark Adams?
Image Comics fucking killed it, and you're right. Spawn, when Spawn came out, like what the fuck, and the way they did the cape and everything, fuck yeah, Image Comics kicked ass for a while.
Oh hell yeah, bro, hell yeah.
You know what I was into for the longest time is I was waiting. I was from the beginning. I was a fan, right?
Right.
Remember when Marvel Comics was introducing the new universe? They made a big thing about it and everything.
Yep.
Like a year or two before they did new universe, and I collected every one of the new universe comics. Now, see, I want you to get an understanding of the collection that was stolen.
Right.
All right. So,
right.
You know, I collected every one of the new, and my favorite was DP7, Night. What was it? Nighthawk, Nightmare. It might have been Nightmare, right? And Merc.
Right.
And these comics, man, drew. It's just unfortunate the new universe didn't work out for Marvel, but they did take a few of the main characters from New Universe and cross them over to Marvel, which I want to see. I don't know if you even know who it is, but Starbrand was the flagship for New Universe. And
right.
Starbrand is actually in the Avengers, and technically he is one of the more powerful, one of the most powerful characters in Marvel Comics. I'd like to see them do the origin story of Starbrand. I really, really would.
They probably would, and those that don't know who Starbrand is, I'm gonna throw him up in a minute. But I just wanted to show one of the most decorated illustrators and painters for DC and Marvel. His name is Alex Ross, and if you look on the screen there, you would notice his work because he's the one that does like the real life paintings of the, on how they would look in their costumes, and this motherfucker was awesome, bro. This motherfucker Alex Ross is still painting to this fucking day. You know what I mean? I just wanted to show you guys that, and hold on. Now let me show you guys exactly what Starbrand looks like. So for those that don't know, hold on for 1 second.
Red Glove Militant, what's up? How you doing, brother? Mark Adams, how you?
What's up, my people? Everybody, thank you for joining the stream. If you guys want to join the stream on the panel, you're more than welcome to. You know what? Matter of fact, let me do this one here. There we go. And I'm more than sure this is going to be very nostalgic, especially for you, my friend. Here we go. There we go. Starbrand.
Oh, there he is. Starbrand.
Yep. There he goes, brother. Thank you, everyone, for joining once again. Comic book stream. If you guys want to join the panel, the link is directly in the chat. You're more than welcome to join. You know what I mean? And we can kick it. Mark Adams, Red Glove Militant, Cal Lil is with us. We got motherfucking Ralph Unreal and Mazeris. No doubt, the mighty Maze. What's going on, guys? Yeah, so Starbrand is very, very, very old school. Now, let me show you guys Marvel's answer to Superman. Okay? And his name is the Sentry. He has a power. He has the power. Yeah. He has the power of 10,000 million suns. And this motherfucker was the first character ever made from Marvel. The Sentry, right there. He has the power of 10,000 exploding suns, bro. And this man is the only man to knock the Hulk out. This is the man that hit the Hulk so hard he turned him back into Bruce Banner. All right? This is Superman couldn't even do that. And Superman, he gets recharged off of one sun. His weakness is a red sun. You know, his personality changes, you know, with an eclipse or whatever. And he has weaknesses, black kryptonite. His weakness is when you mention the void. That's his other dark half of him. You know what I mean? And if you take a look at okay, away from the windows, the first panel, the first one you see him there, the second one where you see the guy in red or whatever in front of him, that's what the void looks like. That's his evil side, and that's his only weakness. When you bring the void out of him, he's like conflicting himself within his mind. You know what I mean? And his best friend is the Hulk. So when he sees the Hulk, he calms down. You know what I mean? It's fucking, and when the Hulk gets crazy, the Hulk calms down. If you don't believe me, take a look at this comic book that was made by another one of my another one of my favorite artists from this era. Uh shit. His name is Michael Bendis. This motherfucker made a story. It was called Breakout. Avengers Breakout, where all the criminals broke out of Rikers Island and they went all over the city and shit, started going all over the country, and all the Avengers and almost every fucking superhero became an Avenger, bro. The West Coast got together with the East Coast Avenger. I mean, it was fucking crazy. And the Hulk got so mad from beating the shit out of people, bro, that he lost control, and they had to bring the Sentry in again. And when they brought the Sentry in, the Sentry told the Hulk, calm down, you know, relax, and he was able to turn him back into Bruce Banner again without knocking him out. I'm telling you, man, this guy will pulverize Superman in under a minute, bro. He'll punch Superman into another galaxy, bro. Know what I'm saying? This the only man to knock the Incredible Hulk out with one fucking punch and turn him back into fucking Bruce Banner, bro. And I'm gonna look for that pic. I'm gonna look for that pic, so in case you guys don't believe me.
I'm trying to look up a pic that I wanted you to put up there.
Yeah.
For me, it's one of my most favorite panels. It's actually two panels. That's how big this fight was, and it was the first fight, I believe, between the Hulk and the Thing.
Right, I remember that.
And
That was epic. There you
there
go.
was this,
You see that picture right there, all the way to your right, as you
yeah,
face the screen, where that punch right there, that's the knockout blow that turned him back into Bruce Banner, bro. Look at that. And you know who drew that? Michael Bendis. Look at the art on that, boy. Look at the definition,
see that.
the striations of the muscles. You know what I mean? If you look at his quads, he's got the quad muscles perfect. You know what I mean? He's got the delts. He's got the fucking breadbasket, his solar plexus. Yo, I'm telling you, man, these guys, bro, they make you want to study anatomy, man. Beautiful. Beautiful, bro. And that was the knockout blow right there that turned them back into. Now, Samson, Dr. Samson is another motherfucker because he had green hair, but he was only half power of the Hulk. And he had green hair and shit. And I remember they tried to bring him in to stop the Hulk at one
Yeah,
point.
wasn't Samson or Doc Samson? That wasn't that. What's her name's dad? They even showed it on Agents of Shield. What the hell was her name?
What's going on,
Yeah,
Douglas?
Was it Doc Samson Quake's dad?
I think so. Yes, yes. D. Douglas. I saw that one. I saw that fan made one. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Welcome, brother. Welcome. You know, so like if you can see, Doc Samson is the one right up top panel, the third one. He's the one with the red shirt with the lightning in front of his chest, green long hair. Well, you know, and then they also got matchups where you had the Hulk versus Superman, which really was fucking the the most formidable opponent that was a real featherweight to the Hulk, but kept frustrating him to the point that he was like, I better get the fuck out of here, and he had to call Shield with Spider-Man. The Hulk could never touch Spider-Man, son. The Hulk could never ever touch Spider-Man because Spider-Man is very elusive.
He's agile, man. He's
Yeah,
slippery, man.
yeah. Like people don't understand. Spider-Man could fuck up a whole school of ninjas with his fucking his spidey sense and reflexes alone. This motherfucker go through a whole school of ninjas. Like he didn't even need to learn martial arts or anything like that. He's just flipping on motherfuckers, and he sees an open spot, he's punching them. You know what I'm saying? I remember the first time he was Spider-Man and he punched somebody in the jaw, he hurt his hand. And that's another thing. Spider-Man has regeneration, in case y'all didn't know. But like if he got a broken rib, it'll take him a whole day to regenerate. You know what I'm saying? It'll take Spider-Man a whole fucking day to regenerate. In case y'all didn't know that. And if you want to know the lore to that, look at the Doppelgangers series where remember where Domino was in it and they had turned Spider-Man, he had like fucking 6 arms. I mean he had 8 arms and shit. He had
Yeah.
remember that? Well, that's the
Spider or something like that.
yeah, and then they made it. Then he had a doppelganger. So in that series, you see that lore there. You know, as to because he was fucking everybody up, and the doppelganger. And bro, he fell down from a roof. His webbing snapped, and he landed rib first on a fire escape ledge. Bang! And he choked on his blood and shit. And it took him a whole day to fucking regenerate his whole fucking ribs, bro. You know what I'm saying? Another thing with Spider-Man is he can never catch a cold, unlike other superheroes that if they catch colds, so he's got a very strong immune system, but his healing factor is very, very slow. It'll take him a whole day. So if he breaks his rib at 8 p.m., he won't be better till like 8 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And Spider-Man that's one thing about Spider-Man, bro. This is why I'm glad that he's in the forefront. This motherfucker has been through a lot of battles, fought almost everybody in Marvel, bro, and he's taken his licks, bro, but he's always given them 3 times harder. You know what I mean? I got mad respect for Spider-Man, bro. Ralph Unreal says didn't know that Spider-Man is my favorite character, no doubt, bro. Spider-Man is amazing. No pun intended, but Spider-Man is fucking amazing. That was my favorite character back in the days. One of my favorite characters. You know what I'm saying? I always thought he also looked like a red ninja to me. You know what I mean? He looked like a red ninja to me.
I could totally see that. I thought it was cool. Before I found out about the symbiote, I really thought that the black Spider-Man suit was cool. I thought before I read the comic, right? Before I read the comic, I didn't know
right
that it was a symbiote. Just by looking at the cover, I said, "Oh,
yeah,
new suit." I thought it looked cool.
That shit is iconic.
And then you see that you get into the story and it's all about the symbiote.
And the way that story went off, that lore went off was that Jane Jonah Jameson's son, went to the moon, and of course, the symbiote snuck in. At first, it was on him first, and then it got off of him, and it got loose. And Brock, you know what I'm saying? It went on Brock because Brock was healthy, and you know what I mean. And it was crazy. And then some of that, while Spider-Man was battling Venom, some of that shit went on to him. And when it went on to him, it gave him that nasty, awesome, fucking stealth black symbiote suit with a big white spider in the front, bro.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you a question about that whole storyline.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I know that everybody was talking about Spider-Man. Spider-Man went dark that's the Spider-Man I wanted him to be, man. Fuck that. I wanted him to be ruthless with these motherfuckers and just like face palm motherfuckers.
I'm telling you, bro. When he went against the Sinister Six with the black outfit, bro, he fucked all of them up, bro. Powerless, bro.
They did not expect. They thought they were going up against the regular Spider-Man, the boy.
Yep, and the reason why that symbiote couldn't stay on him, and it would just like when he gets home, it would go off on him, and it would stay under, right? Was because of the Spidey powers he had. Yeah. So it wasn't because it would have been fighting it off. So whenever he needed it, he would just open it, and he would like, all right, come on, Slimy, and it would get on him and stuff, and he'll go out. But that's the thing, though. It fucked with his mind, though. But he always kept, because Peter Parker is very intelligent. This motherfucker's a scientist, so he knew how to deal with that, as well as, bro, having like 3-4 times the fucking strength. So it would add more power to him. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Symbiote.
Yeah, so if he was
Spider-Man's strength by a long, because Spider-Man, if you go by the stats, the books are in there, Spider-Man is 15 to 25 tons of strength.
Right.
All
So
right.
right now times that by 3, bro, to
Yeah,
the
so
third
that made
power.
him 75 tons strength.
So if
That
he
made
was
him as strong as Colossus, because Colossus was 70 to 80 tons strength.
Yup.
The maximum is 100 ton, and that's like Hulk and you know, people like the Hulk. Galactus is 100 ton. Silver Surfer is 100 ton.
Right.
People like that. So imagine that he went from 25 ton to 75 ton. Uh, Spider Man was no fucking joke when he had the symbiote on, man.
Yeah, he was no fucking joke, bro. And the shit that I liked about that lore as well was that, you know, that suit, that symbiote suit, especially with the little webbing that he had, that shit was far beyond. Like that, it was something that I've never seen, and what I liked about it was brand new. It was different. You know what I'm saying? And then they started using the Black Spider-Man with the symbiote suit. You know, a lot in Marvel.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
they started using them a lot, especially when you know how you look and it has the pricing and then it has the code and the bars and stuff, and then they would usually have like a picture of an illustration of the forehead, you know, four heads or something under the Marvel, and then it would say 25 cents or $1, right? They started
Mhm.
using the symbiote inside the square box, and he would be like posing and shit, like coming at you, running. That shit, I'm telling you, man, it's an iconic look, bro. That shit was an iconic look.
My thing, and people underestimate Spider-Man, Peter Parker, because I want to separate the two. You got Spider-Man, but Peter Parker was fucking mad intelligent. In fact, if you read on, he was as smart, if not smarter, than Tony Stark.
Right,
You know,
right.
and then if and um, he had his own company. You remember that storyline? I mean, he was. I mean, this is when Spider Man got older and stuff like that. And then they constantly retcon and shit like that, and I hate when they
Yeah,
do that. You know,
yeah.
but
Oh yeah. Yeah, they kept retconning it and shit. Hold on. D. Douglas says, his
oh,
favorite.
Psylocke, Douglas, Miss Psylocke was badass. I loved Psylocke in the X Men. Psylocke was one of my favorite X Men too. She was freaking awesome. Um, I remember the storyline from when before she became the really badass fighter to
Right
when
there.
yeah, to when she was just where she just had the psionic abilities, to where she became the actual Psylocke. Psylocke, yeah.
She was fly, bro. Yo, and I'm not gonna front. Olivia Munn in Apocalypse.
Actually, Olivia looked just like her.
Yeah, she was nice, bro. She
Yeah,
got a
she looked just
tone and
like her.
shit. Yeah, bro. But they need one of these Instagram workout bitches to, wear shit like this. Those cosplayers, bro, they look as good as the comics. I don't know how they do it, bro. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Psylocke was a bad bitch. You know what I'm saying? She was a nice bitch. Also, Elektra. Elektra was fucking fire too, bro. Elektra, they slept on Elektra a lot.
Like in the New Mutants, one of my favorite characters. I like Danny Moonstar. I liked her powers, right?
Yeah.
Danny Moonstar was cool, right? But I liked Sam Guthrie,
Mm,
Cannonball.
yeah.
But my favorite had to be my two favorite, all right, um, was Warlock. Remember Warlock?
Yes. Yes.
Warlock was a shapeshifter. This guy was badass. You would think he's dumb as fuck, but he's not. He was a little kid
Right.
compared to his people. He was like not even a teenager. He was a kid.
Which Warlock? Adam Warlock?
No, Warlock. Remember the shapeshifter? I'm gonna pull him up
No,
and
I
show
got
you.
him. I'm gonna get him.
Yeah, if you look New Mutants, Warlock. Oh yeah, and
I
then
got you. I got you. See, but yeah, I got you right now. I got you right now.
and then Rainy. Yes, that's him, Warlock. Yeah, he was cool.
That's him right there, all the way to the left. I mean, to the right.
mm,
You're right.
yeah,
Yep. That's
I
right.
love Warlock. So, but it was Sam Guthrie, Warlock, and Rainey, who I liked, and I liked the fact that they used Maisie Williams
Yes.
in the New Mutants movie.
Mm,
I think she portrayed Rainey really good. I liked it. She did a good job.
yeah. I
But
just, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
like that movie. I thought it could have been better. They were going the right direction with them, but Rainey Maisie Williams as Rainey, perfect. I didn't think Sam Guthrie in the movie was good, but in the comics, I like Sam as Cannonball. He was a very powerful character, very
Yeah.
powerful character. But out of all of them, Warlock was the coolest, man. Warlock, he had the coolest powers, man.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I just want to say too, in the '90s, there were a lot of innovators, and what I mean about innovators are people that brought characters right to Marvel. There's one young gentleman that bought, and he was great with his colors and his faces and his face expressions, but his anatomy was way off, and I'm about to point that out to you. And back in my day, we used to have some shit called battle chess, where one period you would draw your character going up against mine with a move, and then the next period you give it to me, and I would see it, and then I would draw that period, then the next period I would give you yours and mine,
Yeah,
and then at the end of the day, or if we had lunch at the same time, there would be a judge, and they would be like, which moves look lethal. But we had to draw it out though, right? And I'm telling you, like everybody see my art. I have it on my. You know what I'm saying? I could have been Marvel material, but and I want to point something out to you guys. This is why proportion. This is why comic books is the shit, bro. I love it. Okay, now you see that Captain America there, all the way to your right in the square with the shield, the big portrait of Captain
yeah,
America. You see it? Okay. You see how his chest sticks out?
yeah.
Okay, now that's supposed to be one peck because you're standing actually on a side profile with a three-quarter shot of the head. That's a wrong profile because now where's his trapezius connecting to that other shoulder? Where's the shoulder muscle? Right? It's too tilted. So this is what I mean, and this shit was a comic book cover, and motherfuckers didn't notice that. It's off, isn't it?
I was just about to say I didn't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but I don't like that cover. I didn't like that drawing at all because it's disproportionate. There's
Exactly.
when you do drawings, there is something called heroic proportions, and then normal proportions. And comic book characters, your heroic, the characters that you drawing that is supposed to be the central focus of a comic book, you always draw him in heroic proportions.
Exactly.
That is steroid proportions.
Exactly, exactly. And I also wanted to point out to you, if you look inside the box again, if you look at Captain America's fists, he couldn't draw fists for shit. It would always look like nubs. Like, damn, I wish. Let me see if I can bring this closer. Is it closer now? Can you see it, or is it,
Uh,
or did it just get closer on my screen just for me?
Probably just on yours because it didn't get closer here.
All right. Well, if you look up Rob Liefeld and you look at his art, and I'm gonna show you the type of fist he couldn't make. He would try to make a fist like this. The shit would look like this all the time. All his characters, his fist would look like that instead of like this. You know what I mean? It's like
Right, right, right.
he never took the time to get reference from something. You know what I'm saying? Even your own hand, you could do that. Like, you know, he was young at that time though. He was the youngest working artist for Marvel. You know, Rob Liefeld. He's also the guy who created fucking Deadpool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Rob Liefeld, and that's this guy right here. I'll show you right now. That's him right there. Put it right in the square. That's Rob Liefeld. Right there, right in the square. See, and when he started working, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was like 15.
Oh shit! Hold on. Sorry about that. All right, I turned it off now.
It's all good. Yeah, he was 15 when he got a Marvel contract. You know, and I'm not gonna lie, he was pretty good at the time, but it's off. His proportion, everything was off. And what's funny is that a lot of art critics were saying that, and Marvel protected this motherfucker, right? He also brought Cable to the forefront too.
Do you remember Stan Lee chewing out Layfield for not knowing how to draw feet?
Exactly. See what I mean? He,
he made a joke about. I think he even talked about it on Comic Book Men.
yeah.
I think he even talked about it then, but he chewed out Rob Liefeld for not knowing how to draw feet.
Feet, bro. See what I mean? So he didn't know how to draw hands. He didn't know how to draw feet and shit, like in different positions. Like, You know what I mean? But he was young. He was 15. But he kept that habit on till he was like at least 18, 19, because he broke off with Marvel along with motherfucking Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Silvestri. They all made Image Comics.
Right.
You know what I mean? And also like the guy who created Pit. I'm not sure if you guys read Pit before, but Pit was crazy. He was like a little boy who had sort of like a real big hulking fucking friend in the darkness and shit. It was crazy. That series didn't run too long. Then they had also had a Savage Dragon. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Image, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is still up, but they're very small now. Like they fell off, and Jim Lee is basically commissioned now. So are the others. So they might get like maybe a one series deal or two series deal, which will last maybe the whole year or whatever. Where they have to draw like maybe 3 or 4 books to continue the whole story or whatever, and they get paid crazy dollars, like 100,000 something dollars for it and shit. Now it's probably more, but that's how they do now, and I can respect that because those artists, I understand you got to give a young artist a chance. But the problem here is that a lot of young artists aren't willing to learn like Layfield. He didn't learn from his mistakes. When when Jim Lee, no, what's his name? Stan Lee got at him, that bird that brought his stock down to a point that people stopped looking at his comic books. So and then was the Image series Wildcats, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that was drawn by Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri. They had so many good what was the other one, man? Blood something. It was about a Vietnam veteran.
I know, don't get me wrong, because Rob Liefeld is a good artist, but
Oh no, he's legendary now. I mean, he
he's
fixed.
legendary now. But
Yeah,
man,
he
when he
he
first
fixed.
came out, his heroic proportions was so fucking outrageous. Yet he would leave out small details like feet.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
Look. That's how he draws now. He got much better. Hold on, let me show you. Look in the box. You see, he draws much better now. Now he knows how to draw a fucking a thumb over
yeah,
the fist. Now you see his proportions much better because he's older now. So of course he learned from his mistake, but he learned way too late. You know what I mean? Like way too late. You know? Yeah, Lady Deathstrike. Domino was an awesome character as well, man. Domino, I used to love Domino. You
yeah.
know?
When I read when because I again these are comics. The comics that I bring up are the comics that I collected that I had a physical copy of when they had the Wolverine, when they had the Wolverine story and Spider Man was in it, and um, where they had it where Spider Man looked like he was going to kill Wolverine. If you remember that panel where Wolverine was up against the fucking, this was in a graveyard,
Yeah.
and his was Wolverine was laying up
Wolverine
against
was like,
up against the headstone, and Spider Man was just blasting him. He's like, blah, blah, and you never see Spider Man this angry. And he was fucking pissed, and this was not him in the symbiote suit. This
right.
was him in his regular suit, and he hit Wolverine so hard that the tombstone behind him
Crack.
broke.
Yeah, that shit. Yeah, bro. See, the thing is that this motherfucker was breaking his hands though at the same time because he's hitting adamantium.
Yeah.
And that's why Wolverine was like 5'2", 5'5". This motherfucker weighed 500 pounds. He could never take an airplane because the metal detectors would go off, and when they did, and they put him through, they would be like, "Oh shit, this man has broken his body. His whole body's reinforced. Oh my god, sorry." So he would be like basically, accepted as a handicap. You know, and shit like metal rods and stuff like that. So that's how they kept it. And I'm just saying to myself, like, Wolverine is one devastating character because he's been through World War II. In case y'all didn't know that, he was with the what was it the how
He was in the Civil War too. He was in
yeah. But there was hold on, I'm gonna look it up. There was I think it's called the Howling Squad.
the Howling Commandos.
Howling Commandos, bro. And you guess who was in the Howling Commandos?
Captain America.
Yep, yep. So he knew Cap.
Yep.
Know what I'm saying?
But at that time, he didn't have the adamantium in his on his bones yet. He just had the claws.
Right. He just had the
And,
healing ability and his
yeah,
claws. Yeah. Yeah, and his claws that would come out, them shits would be
they're
bone.
bones. Yeah, bone claws.
Bone, yeah. Hold on, I'm about to show you the Howling Commandos right now. Because this is epic, bro. The Howling Commandos fucking epic. Epic fucking squad, bro. Know what I'm saying? Look in the black box, the big black box right there. Howling Commandos by Shield too. And that's the thing, like people don't understand how long Shield's been around as well. In the comic book, universe and shit. Sergeant Fury. Nick Fury was in the Howling Commandos too. It was Fury, Captain America,
Yeah,
Wolverine.
that's back before he got the tan.
Right before they threw him into the race politics and shit. Yeah, bro. Boom, that was the new Howling Commandos. Just keep looking in the black box there. Let me see. This is a picture of all of them together. And that's a badass name too, the Howling Commandos. Because they go in and their guns just going and howling. Fucking awesome, bro. Awesome. And it was later on that they started getting like the mutants on their team and stuff like that. It's comic book lore is crazy, man. And there's a lot of stories that intertwine with each other.
D.
And
Douglas is talking about Lady Deathstrike.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Lady Deathstrike was badass, and I love that story because that was also another Wolverine story. And when he went out there to Japan, and because I do believe Lady Deathstrike was his girlfriend or someone he was in love with, and they did some fucked up shit to her, but she was a badass too. And
yeah.
woof, she gave Logan a run for his fucking money.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, bro. Oh yeah, she did,
What was
bro.
another good comic? Remember the comic that
I
it
want to
was
show.
Elektra. It was Elektra.
I,
It was one of the Elektra comics. Actually, I think Image did. Uh, I think Image did an Elektra comic.
which one? Which one?
Image, Image Comics. You
Yeah, yeah.
know,
Um.
did
I-
did something for Marvel with Elektra.
oh
It's
yeah, I didn't
one
know
of those
that.
special editions, right? And it was a fucking big book, and it had a hardback, you know.
Mm,
Um, and Elektra was so badass with her katana. She fought this guy or this robot that was made out of adamantium,
mm.
right? And she's so badass, she clean cut his head off. He's made of adamantium, and she's so badass, she straight up cut this dude's head off.
But was her katana made of adamantium steel too, or just regular steel?
Regular steel.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she hit him that good.
Wow.
You know?
That's crazy. I want to show you guys the most menacing villain that has practically fucked everybody up in Marvel, bro. The Hulk caught it too, bro. What's up, OG Boogie? And that man
Oh,
right there,
really?
his name is Marco Huck, aka the Juggernaut.
Oh, Juggy.
This guy
I'm
right
the
here, bro.
juggernaut, bitch.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. This Juggernaut, bro, Marco Huck, let me tell you something about that suit. It's really the helmet, bro, that got him big like that and gives him mystical power. Like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
His power is mystical because of the helmet, bro. Like, bro, the Juggernaut has busted many motherfuckers' asses, bro. Many asses. And this is exactly why, like, he's one of my favorite bad guys, bro. He
Whenever
has,
whenever they put him and the Hulk together, they talk about what happens when you have an immovable object versus an unstoppable force.
oof.
You know, and that's what those two fighting is like. You know.
Oh my goodness, bro. I mean, when they have fought, they fought a lot, but there was a certain series that they had. You know what I'm saying? My man OG Boogie, he says the human juggernaut. Fucking Khalil said that Joe Joyce looks like the juggernaut. That's funny.
Hey, did you like the Juggernaut that was in the Deadpool 2?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was cool, man. I thought
That's
that was comic accurate.
to me, yeah, that's the juggernaut right there, bro. You know what I mean? That's the oh boy. Look, check it out. I heard that the job did not bust gold dust ass. Fucking nut. You crazy man. You know, I'm about to sign off, of course, because we've got to prepare for Elbows of the '80s tonight. And just to let you guys know, Elbows of the '80s tonight at 10 p.m. will consist of the panel Four Horsemen, of course. And tonight we're gonna have an in-depth look at the beef that Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior actually had, and you guys were excited for that. I've got special clips, uh, you know, and just basically, man, we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty, and you have to make a decision yourself as to why the beef even started. So, you know, tonight 10 p.m. man. But I want to thank my brother Electro Jed man for joining the stream. You know what I mean? Thank
Thank
you
you
very,
for having me, brother.
of course, my brother. Thank you very much, man. Thank you to everybody who stopped by, everybody who stood. You know what I mean? The playback posse, of course. You know, you guys can play it back, and we'll have a second one of these. You know, we'll have a second one of these. You know, hold on before we go. OG says, "Dude, I still have 1938 copy rendition of Superman #1. Wow, put
Ooh.
put that shit in a vote, brother. Put it in a vote because that shit is, you know. But definitely tonight, 10 p.m. Elbows of the '80s. Of course, you'll see Electro Jet again, OG Boogie, and Brian Hawkin, the Four Horsemen panel. And thank you for joining the Insight. You guys are awesome. God bless. Stay vigilant. See you tonight, guys.
Have a
Electro,
good one, guys.
see you tonight, brother.